Inside Rangers Football is brought to you by Physicians Premier. Our conveniently located freestanding ERs are fully equipped and expertly staffed so you get the best care closest to home. At Physicians Premier, you'll find faster service, friendly doctors, and a comfortable level like no other. And Texas Regional Bank. Buying or building a home? We have construction and mortgage loans to help. For all your personal or business banking needs, Texas Regional Bank. The people you know.
Welcome to another episode of Inside Rangers Football. I'm your host, Brent Freeman, as always, joined by Smith Valley head coach Larry Hill. Coming up, we're going to preview the Rangers' next game against San Marcos this Friday. But first, we're recapping a thrilling win for the Rangers this past Friday, 21-19 over the Steel Knights on the road. Coach, a wild game in the fourth quarter. The lead changed hands 4 times alone. You win in a hostile environment. Playoff implications on the line of that game as well. How significant was it to win like that in that kind of game?
Well, it is significant. I mean, every win's important, no question. But as you said, a very highly regarded opponent at their place who's had a great year and a lot of chances to go away. You know, we were ahead, they were ahead. We were ahead, they were ahead. And our kids showed a lot of grit. You know, they answered every challenge and did it with contributions from everyone. It wasn't all defense, wasn't all offense, wasn't all kicking games, a little bit of everything. And had to deal with some setbacks. When you play a good team, that's going to happen some. And so proud of the win, but maybe more proud of the manner with which we got it.
Yeah, you mentioned the success for all 3 phases for you, offense, defense, special teams. Let's focus on special teams. The big play of the game certainly was the game-winning field goal made by Mason Reed, a 51-yarder. Honestly, Coach, I think it would have been good from 60. Mason's previous career long was 40 yards before that. How big of a moment was that for Mason Reed?
Well, it was big for him, big for our team. You know, we called a timeout prior to it to get the clock stopped, so we'd have time to kick. And of course, there was dialogue during the thing, but during the timeout. But our kids had confidence in him. They've seen him slam that kind of thing in practice before, and then of course when we sent him out there, Steele used their last timeout to ice him, which is a pretty standard tactic. And during that timeout, you know, there was no uneasiness with our players around the huddle or Mason, and while that's certainly not a cinch kick, we sent him out there, and it wasn't a miracle, I guess I should say. He's shown that kind of, but to do it with that much on the line with pressure says a lot for that young man.
Now, offensively, your biggest play in terms of explosiveness and yardage was the 58-yard touchdown pass, Levi Williams to Chris Rivera, but you spent a bulk of the game running the football and ran it well. What did it mean to have success running the ball against a defense like Steele's?
Well, you need to. You know, their defense is set up, makes it difficult to throw balls in tight windows. The way they structure their defense, you need to be able to run the football on them. And we made a concerted effort to do it, even if it wasn't going to work. You know, we made a mindset that we're going to stick with it until it does. And we probably threw the ball less than Ranger fans are used to. But that was part of it, and really give great compliments to our O-line, blocking some really good P, and our backs did a great job not only running football and blocking, and our quarterback made running contributions as well as throwing, and not exactly how it normally goes down, but that was what we needed to win that game, and I was real proud of our kids for stepping up and doing it.
Defensively, you held your own against a very athletic Steel offense that, of course, came up with the stop at the end of the game, the interception from Trey Witcher, courtesy of a deflection by Trey Moore. How impressed were you by the play of your defense from this past Friday?
Well, very impressed. I think the biggest thing we did was we limited their explosive plays. Runs over 12 or passes over 18. That's what we define as an explosive play. Held them to 5. Most games they'd had double digits, some games even as many as 15, 17 of them. So made them drive the ball. At times they couldn't, and at times, of course, they did, but we limited their possessions and didn't let them score from a long way out. And to do that at their place against guys that clearly are capable of exploding on you was a great job.
Again, it was a big win for the Rangers this past Friday over Steel, 21-19 with several big plays. And with that, let's take a look at this week's Plays of the Week.
Yeah, let's go take a look. All of our big plays of the week this week are in the fourth quarter. Toward the end of the fourth quarter, Steele has scored to take a lead, and we can see as we roll the tape here, we're 58 yards away from the end zone on a second down, and we're going to feature senior receiver Chris Rivera here. As the tape unfolds, you can see because of the success of our running game throughout the night, Steele has now changed their coverage and committed to a 9-man box. You can see them all in there ready to stop the run. As the play unfolds, you can see Chris has got the middle of the field wide open, but he's very tightly covered by one of their fine cornerbacks. He separates, the ball is thrown, he's covered pretty tight, but the ball, Levi does a nice job, sticks it in a tight window, and the ball just gets in there to Chris. He juggles it a bit, makes a one-hand catch, and takes it the distance, and the Rangers regain the lead, even though there's a lot of football left to be played. You can see it from the rear a little bit, just from a slightly different lens here. Levi's actually reading the safety. Even though the handoff is there, his eyes are actually on number 10 here. And as number 10 and 3 others commit to the run, he knows the middle of the field's open. So he relaxed, just throws a great strike as we've come to expect from him through the years. And Chris really concentrates well, because that was good coverage by their defensive back. And touchdown gave us the lead to go. Of course, this is the one that, the big play that got the most notoriety. We're on the 34-yard line in a 4th and 8, and we've got Jeremiah Gilliam has a tee out there on the 41-yard line, and we're going to try a 51-yard kick with Mason Reed. Snap is good. The kick is, if you watch the trajectory of this ball, it's like a cannon going off. That thing has got plenty of room to spare. You can see it well over the crossbar there. 51-yard kick, and you know, touches off a little bit of a celebration here. You watch it from the wide angle a little bit better, you can see. Steele's got 4, 5, 6 guys playing the fake here, you know, not knowing our kicker's range, and I think I'd probably do the same, make sure the fake doesn't happen. Let's see if he can really make that kick. Snap is perfect by John Beck. Jeremiah gets it down to protection solid, and it's a 51-yard bomb, and you know, it touches off a bit of a celebration both in the stands and on the sideline. Still some football to be played. We still got to go out there and stop those guys, but you know, we're going to be able to do that, as you're going to see as our third big play comes up. We're hastily getting our guys reorganized, got to kick off to them. We do. They get a fair catch, and now their offense is out on the field. You can see, given the situation with no timeouts left, we've got 4 defensive backs that are rather deep. We've got 3 linebackers crowding up the underneath zones. So we're going to try to force them to throw it in front of us. And then Trey Moore, sophomore defensive end, coming off the top side, pressures the quarterback, gets his hand on the ball, bounces up in the air. You can see the ball at the high point. Junior defensive tackle Trey Witcher picks it off. And, you know, the first play after the kickoff, we get the turnover. And, of course, now we're able to go out and just kneel the ball. And similar sideline celebration 1 or 2 plays later from the one that you just saw. You see it from the rear. Trey's coming off the edge here, Trey Moore. Beats the running back's block, slips to the outside, and then gets his hands up in the air and bats it. You can see the ball here. Now here comes Trey Witcher pressuring from the inside. The ball falls right in his lap. He gets on the ground and you know, touches off the celebration, and we'll have a happy ending here. And those are our plays of the week.
And again, Smith Valley coming off the win over Steele, 21-19. As a result, the Rangers now 3-2 in 26 6A play, and they go for another district win this Friday when they host San Marcos. The game will preview coming up in just a bit, but up next, it's time for Senior Moments, Little Men, Rangers trivia, and more. Back with more Inside Rangers football in just a moment.
Come on in.
Hey, Coach. I'm here to try out for the Rangers mascot. I mean, what's better than the guy who Smith Valley was named after?
Don't you mean Benjamin Smithson? You're Benjamin Franklin.
Smithson? Oh, that makes sense.
He was instrumental in founding this area in 1856. He was one of the first Rangers.
The first Ranger. What position did he play for you, Coach?
He was a Texas Ranger, a Western lawman.
I get it now. I like where this is headed. Be right back. Hey, Coach, how about another perfectly executed shameless plug while I'm gone?
If you need video production work, there's no finer organization than Wick Productions. It's who we trust for Rangers Network and game night scoreboard production at Ranger Stadium.
Well,
Oh, you nailed it.
Rangers we will be!
WIC Productions. Watching a video is just better than reading stuff.
Since I've had GVTC installed in my office, I've been able to get a lot more done. With fiber speeds up to 1 gig a second, I can turn in all my schoolwork on time, keep up on social media, and watch game film with no interruptions.
Whoa, we haven't even played that game yet.
Yeah, it's that fast.
Enjoy uninterrupted entertainment with your favorite apps through our professionally installed GVTC Wi-Fi home network. Log on to gvtc.com to sign up today.
Chicken Express is the place for legendary chicken tenders, the freshest sides, and the best sweet tea in Texas, Chicken E Sweet Tea. Let's give a big thank you to the Brown family for supporting all the high schools in the area for over a decade. Dine in, drive up, or drive through. We'll see you at Chicken Express.
We've got spirit. Yeah, we do. Fill up your tank and support the Rangers, too. When you get gas, look for the Rangers Spirit Pump because Pit Stop and Fishers are donating a percentage of sales from that pump to the Smithson Valley Athletic Booster to support our student athletes. Get gas here and fill up the Booster Club's bank. Here's where you can find your spirit pumps. When you see it, pull up and fill up, Rangers.
And welcome back to Inside Rangers Football. Again, a preview coming up is Smithson Valley's next game against San Marcos. But right now, let's have some fun here at Inside Rangers Football. And for that, let's kick it once again to Emily Wick, the host of Senior Moments. Emily?
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Brant. All right, Corey, Ronald, and Nick, if y'all do me a favor, reach in your pockets, pull out your phone, tell your mom you love her. Thanks for bringing you to football practice today. So, Corey, if there's anything that you could learn to do, what would it be?
Learn to do?
Yes.
Juggle.
Juggle.
Learn to juggle.
That's a good one. Have you ever tried to juggle?
No, I have not.
You haven't tried?
I haven't.
Do you even know how many balls you need to juggle?
3.
Yes, 3.
Got it.
Well, we may need to practice that.
Oh, God.
All right.
Am I sitting and juggling?
Yep. All right.
It's about to be bad. All right.
Ready?
First go, ready? Go juggle.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1.
That's all happening. Oh, you got 2 now. I can do 2. I can juggle 2.
Okay. We might need to work on that a little.
Just a tad.
So, Ronald, I guess at one time you were losing a lot of teeth. How much money did the Tooth Fairy bring you for your teeth?
How many did I lose?
No, how much money did she bring you?
$5.
$5 a tooth. Wow, that is pretty good. You must have had some nice little baby teeth. Took good care of them.
Yes.
Do you believe in the Tooth Fairy still, Ronald?
Yes.
Yes? Well, that's good. Nick, I've seen Coach Shen run. He runs pretty fast. If you were in a foot race with Coach Jeff Shen, who do you think would win?
Wow, that's a hard one. I don't know. I would think me, because he probably pulled a hammy or something.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
You know he's going to see this, don't you? You might have to put those running skills to test after he watches.
I'm here whenever he wants to.
Sounds like a challenge. All right, well, I want to see how that goes. So, Corey, if Coach Hill and Coach Worcester were having a barbecue cook-off, who do you think would win?
Coach Worcester.
Coach Worcester, why?
He just seems like the kind of guy that can just cook it up.
You think so? What do you think he'd make?
Probably a brisket.
A brisket?
Yeah.
And you don't think Larry is any good behind the grill?
I think he has his talents, but I feel like Worcester would win.
All right.
Take it on the way.
We might have to ask him to cook for us.
Yes.
Yeah, see how that goes. So, Ronald, tell me, do you have any interesting hobbies?
Not really.
Football?
Oh yeah, football.
Tell us about what position you play.
I play right tackle. That's on the right side of the line, of course.
You always played that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, pretty good at it too, huh?
Yes.
So, Nick, If you could create your own heaven, what would that be?
Oh, heaven. All right. Probably a heaven full of football and a bunch of football teams competing, just football for the rest of
Eternity. Just football, football, and football. You don't think you'd get tired of football?
I mean, maybe. I have some breaks, but I mean, it'd be awesome.
That'd be cool. Who would be on your team?
Definitely all my friends, everyone from my class. All these two for sure.
Well, that's pretty loyal. You go straight to your friends instead of like ex-NFL guys.
No, just my friends. Have fun.
There you go. Well, do you have like ninja skills in heaven? Like you're that much?
Yeah. Everyone we play, we're just gonna dominate.
There you go. Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, like all the way back. You're just gonna plow them down. Yes. There you go. I like it. All right, boys. It's that time for Ranger Trivia. Whoever wins this question and answers first gets a prize. Who holds the record for career receiving touchdowns, career receiving yards, and career receiving yards per catch? Do you need a hint? He was from the year 2015.
Hausler?
That's right, Derek Hausler. Good job. So you win an autographed Larry Hill football.
Sweet.
Pretty sweet. All right, boys, I have a joke for you. Wait, hold on. Okay, boys, I have a joke for you. What is a cheerleader's favorite food? Cheerios. Get it? Cheerios. Okay, I have a joke for y'all. Why wasn't the young child able to see the pirate movie? Because it was rated R.
That's good.
R. Can y'all give me an R on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3. R. Why did pirates wear eye patches? Any guess? Y'all want to guess? Why do you think they wore them? You would think, right? But actually they were down below so much. If something was happening and they were getting invaded, they had to run to the top of the ship so quickly that their eyes couldn't dilate quick enough. So they would move the eye patch so one eye was always dark and one eye had the light. Kind of cool, huh? Yeah. I don't think I would have wanted to be a pirate.
No.
Doesn't sound like a good time. No. Hey guys, y'all don't happen to have a theme song, do you?
We absolutely do.
Yo ho ho, a pirate's life for me.
So guys, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for being here with me today. Coach Brant, back to you.
Go Rangers! Arr!
So how about that? Nick Aiken got the trivia question right. Derek Hausler, coach, a great receiver for you in your program once upon a time.
He was. He did a lot for us, made a lot of big plays, kind of like you saw earlier, some of those plays of the week. You know, Derek Hausler certainly made a few of those. And Nick Aiken knew who he was. A lot of our guys grew up sitting in the stands watching those guys dying to be one themselves. And so Nick paid attention.
So Derek Hausler played offense, but right now we're talking more Ranger defense. It's compression and tracking in this week's Little Men.
Like most football staffs, we emphasize tackling with our defensive players a great deal here at Smithson Valley. It's a skill, just like anything else, that requires a lot of practice, but it also requires a lot of coaching, and it requires a lot of thinking. It's not just a matter of lining up and going and tackling someone. We use terms called tracking and compression with our defensive players, and rather than me get into it just a great deal, Coach Doug Ulbrich, who's been here a long time, he coaches our safeties, and we're going to let him and the Little Men board take us through what is tracking and compression, and then we'll go look at it on tape. So Coach, if you would, take us through what we mean by those terms.
Okay. Tracking would refer to when a receiver gets the ball and he starts running toward the sideline. We don't want him to stop and cut back on us, so our pattern would be to run an inside-out type run. That way that this back cannot cut back inside of us this way. We will stay on his hip, and as he's running, we will close in on his hip. We will focus on his near hip, and we will wrap up with our near shoulder and roll him to the ground. And you will see that in a little bit on a live clip.
Okay, and then compression is similar but different. And so take us through an example of what compression might mean.
Okay, when we do compression, the same situation's going on. We have a back who is trying to get outside on us, but we have two different defensive players working. We have one that's on the outside of the running back and one on the inside. The guy on the outside keeps the ball from going wide. The guy on the inside runs toward the ball carrier and tracks like the original scenario that I said. As he gets wider, we track on the back hip, and if he tries to cut back on us, he can't. If he tries to run wide, he can't. We have him controlled. So we're going to make this tackle.
So we're going to compress him, kind of try, in a perfect world, make him run between us, put him in a vise, and together make the tackle. So tracking and compression, two tackling terms we use here. That's what it looks like on the little man board. Let's go now to some game tape and see what it looks like in live action.
Okay, what we're fixing to show is the tracking that we do in practice. And right now you're going to see one football player running down a line, and the other football player, he is tracking him. He is reading the near hip, and he is following him, trotting not to get ahead of him. So you'll see that in this video right here. He is staying behind him, and we're touching off down on the hip, showing that we have good position. Notice we're not getting ahead of them. Now in the video we're going to come back the other way. You'll see the same thing, so we work both directions. As they're going, we have the running back kind of stutter his feet so that we have to slow down and adjust. That way we do what we need to do each time when we track. Along with that is our next video, and this is called compression. You will see tracking from the football player on the left, and on the football player on the right, you will see the compression so that we keep the running back in between. Tackler on the left is fixing to run and follow the near hip so he can tackle him right there. The one on the right was the one that kept him from getting outside. You're fixing to see tracking on this video clip right here. It'll be on the right side of the film. And we will have a safety tackle the ball carrier. He will track him and run him down. Right here, right there. You just saw him, and that's the exact same thing that we do every day in practice. You just saw it on video. Another clip of it, same scenario. Got a throw right here. Our safety is inside out, and he rolls him. Same thing you just saw when we were tracking. On this video clip, you will see compression. Our Mike linebacker and our Will linebacker will compress the quarterback. Our Mike will run him to the Will. Our Will keep him from going outside, and he will make the play. You'll notice that the Mike keeps the quarterback from cutting back. Quarterback wants to cut back. Mike doesn't let him. Will ends up making the tackle.
So as you can see, tackling is something that's taught. It's not just something that's just lined up and done. And Coach Albrecht, we appreciate you taking your time to take us through that. And now let's go to Rangers Trivia.
This week in Rangers Trivia, Friday's win over Steele was the Rangers' third game of the season that was decided by 3 points or less, tied for the most in the Coach Hill era. In what other year did the Rangers have 3 games decided by a margin of 3 points or less? Is the answer A, 1994, B, 2004, or C, 2014? The answer is A, 1994. In Coach Hill's second season, Smithson Valley played in several down-to-the-wire games, including a playoff-clinching 10-7 win over New Braunfels in the final game of the regular season. The Rangers also beat Canyon that year 27-26 and came up short against Bastrop 35-32. Again, a lot of close games so far this season, a lot of nail-biters back in 1994. Coach, again, that was year 2 for you. What do you remember about the 94 season?
Well, very similar to 93 when we went 1-9, you know. Had a lot of close games that got away from us that year. This next year we managed to make enough plays to capture most of those close ones. The first year we got into the playoffs. A lot of firsts were happening that year, but it serves as a reminder, you know, the trip to the outhouse to the penthouse is pretty short.
It is, yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a margin for error is pretty small, particularly when you play a schedule like ours and you're in a district like ours. You better cross every T and dot every I, because the margin for error is pretty small.
Again, 94 was the past. The future is this Friday when Smith Valley takes on San Marcos. The game will preview coming up next right here on Inside Rangers Football.
Let's go. Hurry up. Get the play in.
Okay, here we go. Left retainer. Headgear. No popcorn. Straight teeth.
That's a good call. Headgear? Straight teeth?
Yeah.
Good call. What's going on here? I thought I left you in charge. It was a good call.
It was a great call. Really good call.
Okay. Run the play.
Smoky Mo's is great. You can feed a whole bunch of people on a little bit of money. It's perfect for Friday nights.
My boy's a football player, and this fills him up. The brisket is awesome.
I like brisket and sweet brisket. I can't say it.
They have the best turkey, brisket, sausage in all of Comal County.
I agree, and the kids love it too.
You're never going to play offensive line for the Rangers eating salad. Come get some beef.
Get your guns up!
Go Rangers! 35 players are playing their final home game at Ranger Stadium this Friday. 35 seniors for Coach Hill's football team playing the San Marcos Rattlers, a 1-7 football team going into Friday's game. Coach, the Rattlers are the district newcomers to 26-6A. They're finding life to be kind of tough in a very difficult district. This, though, was a playoff team from a year ago. What are your initial impressions of the Rattlers?
Well, not only a playoff team a year ago, but a district champion, and won their by-district game and lost in the second round. So, you know, they're like the rest of us. You know, every week is dog eat dog in this league, and we know from personal experience. You know, we just on the thin side of winning the other night. We've been on the thin side of losing too. So San Marcos is no exception. But they're very explosive offensively, have been, and you know, we've been a bit vulnerable to that kind of stuff. So we know that we'll have to play. I mean, we're kind of a checklist team, and we're going to go through our checklist and fire our best shot Friday. And you know, hopefully we can bring it, because, you know, we have a chance to win at home. It is senior night for our players and for our cheer, dance, and band as well.
Right.
And then, you know, they have some playoff implications depending on not only the outcome of our game, but maybe one other one as well.
Now, you look at San Marcos' offense, and you spoke about it moments ago. It is a balanced attack, far different than what you've seen in years past, that old slot T, triple option style of offense from the Rattlers many years ago. And you look at the leader for this offense so far, the top dog, for lack of a better term, has been Jamon Johnson, their star tailback, more than 700 yards rushing so far this season. What are the strengths of the Rattlers offense?
Well, they're very balanced. You mentioned that. They throw it around very, very well and spray it to multiple receivers. Their quarterback have had one hurt, but the other kid's playing very well. And then you mentioned old number 2 there. They line him up in multiple places. He'll play running back, where he has had some huge plays, and then at times they'll play him at quarterback. And unlike a lot of wildcat guys that go to quarterback, he can execute the whole offense. He's not just back there to catch it and run it. And he has made explosive plays on everyone. And you know, trying to corral him and then also contain the long pass for touchdowns, it'll be challenging. You know, they turned the ball over the other night and it cost them the game. I don't know that we can or can't count on that, but we're going to have to limit his opportunities.
Now, defensively, San Marcos has had its struggles this year. They're giving up more than 42 points per game, but an opportunistic defense. Last week against the Broncos, the Rattlers forced 3 turnovers, took one of the back for a touchdown against the Unicorns. What do the Rattlers like to do on that side of the football?
Well, you know, they're a 3-down or 3-4 style of defense, play a lot of man coverage or lose zone coverage and try to prevent the big throw up the field, make you throw it underneath and then see if you can run the ball against their front. So we'll have to be balanced. We'll have to, you know, we'll have to be able to run it much like we did the other night, but then we'll have to probably make a few more throws and a few more plays in our passing game, which we'll need to do that to have balance.
This is another team on your schedule which you have a lot of history against them, a lot of playoff battles with the Rattlers over the years, and this is not the first time you've been in a district with San Marcos. What do you recall about some of the games you've had against the Rattlers?
Well, you know, in the late 90s, Coach Bush went in there and they'd struggled for so long, and he really turned them around. And oftentimes our game when we were in their league, we came down to the winner gets the district championship and the loser doesn't. And then we moved away from their league, and then we always played them the second round or the first round of the playoff, and you mentioned the style of offense that they did, so difficult to defend. And we had a lot of big time playoff games with tons of people in the stands, and those were memorable, no doubt. And then of course we've been away from them for a while, and now we're back in their league again. So a little history there. I don't know if many of our players remember, but our coaches dang sure do.
All right, Coach, what do you see being the biggest keys to Friday's game?
Limiting, like we said a minute ago, limiting their explosive plays. We can't let them score from 70 in one play. Make them drive the football. And then, I think on the flip side of that, we've got to take care of the football. No turnovers. If we don't move it, then let's punt them back and keep playing defense. So turnovers and limiting explosives, probably the biggest keys.
All right, Coach, best of luck.
All right, thank you, Brand.
Smith Valley hosting San Marcos this Friday, senior night from Ranger Stadium. Kickoff is at 7:30, and we'll have coverage of the game available for you right here on the Rangers Network. For Smith Valley head coach Larry Hill, I'm Brant Freeman. This has been Inside Rangers Football. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.